Now this is podcasting.
Is this enough? With James O'Donoghue and David Hoare.
Don't ever try and kill me again. And welcome to Is This Enough? The excellent and brilliant game show that is both excellent and, get this, brilliant. My name is James O'Donoghue, and with me, as always, is David Hoare. We've come up with 3 rounds each. Neither of us knows which the other one has prepared. There is, of course, all to play for this week because there is a prize for the winner. There is a forfeit for the loser. Last week, I won a Spider-Man weighted blanket. Very nice. I slept the week away. Whereas David lost and was given asbestos. He shall be sleeping forevermore. The prizes this week are very exciting because they're going to be introduced by our special guest. Now, for the last few weeks and episodes, the prizes and final scores have been introduced by the first Prime Minister, Robert Walpole. However, I thought it'd be good to have the next set of scores introduced by the last Prime Minister ever. Here he is now just entering the chat. Folks, I am... Hello, David. It's me, Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage. Prime Minister from 2032 until the year 2150 AD. And I only stood down because the Daleks had invaded. Without that, I could have done another term, another full term. No, let me speak. So, here are the scores. That's a turn up. I'm giving you the scores. That's a turn up, but I have to say, I'm not surprised. Scores are very easy for me because of my history as an investment banker and the fact that I count every face that I see that isn't white per day. So far, David, I'm not happy. Not one bit. I reckon your co-host is Jewish and there's something Welsh about you, and I don't count them as white. If you lose, you get a yogurt with my face on it. That's right. It's a Farage fromage frais. And if you lose, you get sent to Site 31, which is technically not on UK soil. Good luck, boys.
Thanks, Nigel. I didn't like his jacket at all.
It's just upsetting, just an upsetting presence to have.
Yeah.
Nish is furious. Nish is boycotting the rest of the season.
What, summer?
Yeah, he's skipped straight all into autumn.
He's in the fall.
He's in the fall. Much like this would have been very good if I okay. Hit me again with he's in the fall.
He's in the fall.
Much like Marky Smith.
Round 1.
This one is somehow tight, but not very seamless. James, round 1 is, of course, called Friendral Knowledge. Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Ones we can depend on. James, you and I are friends for now, and I'll be there for you as long as I haven't been distracted by a depleted amount of dopamine. But are these real guest stars on the hit 90s TV show Friends? James, I assume you hate Friends.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
Can see through you like I see through my glasses.
If you assume you make an ass out of you and Matt LeBlanc.
Do you hate Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
I think the age gap of us is 5 years? And I think that is just enough time that you missed the kind of height of Friends where... Not the height, sorry. The kind of rise of Friends where it was exciting before it just became the most formulaic thing in the world. And you didn't know what was going to happen. And then it turned out it was ending. And it was like, oh my God. Whereas I can look back now and be like, yeah, I could see why you wouldn't enjoy to have somebody go this was the most popular show of all time. And you're like, why?
I had a similar conversation with my mum yesterday about Tony Blair. Just don't find him funny.
Yeah. James, are these real guest stars on the hit TV show from the 90s, Friends? This is for
Okay.
6 points a question, because there were 6 friends, even though 2 of them were siblings. James, have you watched any of Friends?
Yeah, I've seen enough to. I've seen enough.
To take some guesses, maybe make some educated guesses. Okay, question number 1. Was Denise Richards a guest star on Friends?
I don't know who that is, but she sounds like she was big in the late 90s, early 1000s. Yes, please.
I might just cancel the whole podcast now. You don't know who Denise Richards is?
Hey, ChatGPT, draw me Denise Richards.
Draw me like one of your Denise Richards. Have you seen The
She.
World Is Not Enough?
Okay, yeah.
I think she was the
Yes, Starship Troopers and
Starship Troopers. Yeah, she was.
Okay.
You know, there's like the kind of young, just first hitting puberty boy. You know, when the first like celebrity you fancy that you're like. For me, it was Denise Richards. Yes, Denise Richards was indeed in an episode of Friends where it implies that Ross kind of want to fuck his cousin, Denise Richards. So you get yourself 6 whole points there, James. Congratulations. James, question number 2 was Isabella Rossellini ever in Friends? You know Isabella Rossellini from Blue Velvet? You're not Googling the answer, are you?
No, I'm just Googling Isabella Rossellini. I'm going to say...
From Blue Velvet?
Yeah, I'll say why not.
Correct. Isabella Rossellini is also in Friends.
There
She's
we
in an
go.
episode where Ross talks at length about how much he'd like to shag Isabella Rossellini, and then he takes her off a list of people he could shag, and then Isabella Rossellini appears and goes like, "Why don't you want to shag me?" It was the biggest show in the world. James, question number 3 was Sarah Ferguson ever in Friends?
As in
former Princess Sarah Ferguson.
Former princess.
This is weird. I'm like, are these celebrities in it? And you're like, I haven't heard of any of these people.
I just wanted to make sure it was that Fergie and not the other Fergie.
Is that other Fergie's name also Sarah?
I don't know.
That would be weird.
I think it might be. And then there's also Rebecca Ferguson as well, which is just, that's not helping anyone. I'm going to say, yeah, the Princess Sarah Ferguson was in it with her husband at the time. At least he was spending a lot of time in Manhattan in the early 2000s.
Well, James, some of what you said was correct, some of it wasn't. Yes, she was in it. She was in the episode where they went to England. So that's another 6 points for you there. Question number 4. Was Prince Andrew ever in Friends?
No, but he's in the same book as all of them. I tell you that for free. Ross is flying on that praise. Come on, an architect?
Not the actor, but the character. So
needs a little bit of help with his finances, maybe?
Yeah, you're correct. Prince Andrew was not in Friends because him and Sarah Ferguson had divorced 2 years beforehand. Thank God. Question number 5 was Penn from Penn and Teller ever in Friends?
There's never been more of a Friends guest star than Penn from Penn and Teller.
Correct. That's another 6 points for you there. James, question number 6? I've lost count. Was Teller from Penn and Teller ever in Friends?
No, he refused. He boycotted.
I mean, he doesn't speak, so correct. He is not in Friends. You're absolutely smashing this. And finally, James, was Rudy Giuliani ever in Friends?
Definitely Rudy Giuliani was in Friends. Oh, that
Mayor
was
of New York.
That was
Mayor
a
of New York.
eyebrow raise.
Mayor of New York at the time. James, you are wrong. You finally got one wrong. He was, however, weirdly in an episode of Seinfeld talking about non-fat yogurt. So then to go on and watch him do what he does now is really weird. And there's like, when they released the DVD extras from Seinfeld, there's like there was a mayoral race and they wanted to have the result of the mayoral race in the actual show. So they recorded 2 separate versions of it. So they approached Rudy Giuliani and his opponent but it turned out that his opponent wouldn't do it because spokesman to do it, but Rudy Giuliani would. So there's videos of like Seinfeld and Julia Louis-Dreyfus being like, "That was good of Rudy Giuliani to do that. The other guy wouldn't do it," and now you're like,
Yeah. Seinfeld has also kind of gone nuts.
James, at the end of that round,
Hey!
you have a massive 36 points. It is over to you for, get this right, round 2.
Round 2.
David. Round 2 is called Place Songs. Here are some extracts from songs named after places, but the places have been out. So listen through this extract and tell me what word I've edited out in this famous song inspired by a place. I've also realized halfway through reading this sentence, I didn't end the sentence on word.
On the
So
script, you didn't end it.
I've
By the
not-
way, there's background noise, people, because
yes, because
there's
it's
background noises.
hot as balls today, and I
Ed?
can't bring myself to close the doors. So enjoy the lovely sounds of Hackney building sites ASMR. Pass me that trowel.
I like the fact that you've managed to marry songs, my favorite thing, with geography, my least favorite thing.
But David,
So,
I think
yeah.
you might like this one. I think you might
okay.
enjoy this.
Unlike every other round you've ever made, I might like this one. Let's go.
Oh, son of a bitch! Here it is.
That was a real like, oh no. Rejection sensitivity disorder activated. James, I love you. You know I love you.
Every correct answer, by the way, is worth 22,222 points. Why?
Wow.
Because I fell asleep on my keyboard. Here is your first place song.
Here, baby, do you know what that's worth? Here is a place on earth.
If it isn't Devon, I'm going to be somewhere between devastated and elated. I'm going to go Devon. I sing that a lot. Let's go for it. Lock that in.
David,
Yeah.
it is, of course, Devon. Well done, David. You have
Yes.
to the winner go the spoils.
To the
And
winner. To the
Go the
wall.
spoils.
To the spoils. Very good.
So, David, here is question 2, song number 2.
Pack up that up, I'll be gone before the morning comes. Ta-ra!
You're right. I am enjoying this. Hull. Lock it in.
Pack up
that
that
out,
up, I'll be gone before the morning comes.
David, it is, of course, Hull. Well done. You have got yourself 22,222 points. Next question.
Don't you forget about
Leeds? Don't you
Don't
forget
listen to the
about Leeds.
Listen to the accent. I'm going to play it again. Listen to the accent.
Don't you forget about
Cockneys?
Cockneys.
Surrey?
Oh, David, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
It's the River Lee. I can't give you the points for that. He's asking you not to forget about the River Lee. And
Chris
here,
Jones's favourite river. There's also a
absolutely.
song by Adele about the River Lee, which I find very odd.
I at work have been checking kind of from customer service kinds of things, and one of the things in customer service is like they've made a playlist of songs all about London, and one of them is "Hometown Glory" by Adele, and that is the dreariest fucking song for tourists to listen to, and it just makes me feel like this company doesn't want people to be here. David, here is.
Yeah, I worked in retail through the rise of Adele and the peak of Adele. And so you'll just be in retail and they're like, we've got to play the popular songs of the day. And it's like, I'm really, really sad. And you're like, oh,
I quite like when Prince Philip died. There was Absolute Radio on at work, and they decided to go to a sad playlist, and that included "Do You Ever Know That You're My Hero"
For Prince Philip.
for Prince Philip. I'm
Oh, I
sure.
just remembered another Reveille fact. I lived in a pub near the Reveille, and when you're in a pub, sometimes you get, let's say, incredibly intoxicated. And I wasn't actually at the said event getting incredibly intoxicated, but the guy that ran the pub did. Let's not name any names for libel. But he, in the hot summer, ended up very drunk in the Reveille. With his girlfriend at the time and 2 other people that they got really drunk with. And whilst they're in the Reveille at like midnight, 3 in the morning, one of them went, "Whoa, what's that shiny thing on the floor of the riverbed?" And they like looked and they were like, "Oh my god, there's like treasure. What's this shiny thing?" And my friend picked it up and it was the safe key for the pub. So
Oh, geez, Louise.
if it wasn't for the glint of the moon and the curiosity of another drunk person,
There we go. And
for
then
legal
finally,
reasons, that never happened. Sorry, yes, carry on.
question number 4 to round us up. What famous place song is this?
Is it
David,
Wigan?
what song was that?
Wigan?
Sorry, David. That was, of course, London Boy by Taylor Swift. I cannot give you the points for that. So, David, at the end of that round, you've got yourself 44,444 points. Well done. I'm very proud.
Why are you stammering right now? Stop stammering.
I'm very proud of you.
You've
but I
developed a
wish you'd go.
stammer.
Oh dear, I've developed a stammer. I should have speech therapy, which I could find sessions for, not on the NHS, but through private means. David, it's over to you for round 3.
Round 3.
James O'Donoghue, come and see where all the action is. James O'Donoghue. The James O'Donoghue is great. James, how are you? Is the name of round 3. How are you?
David, I'm fine. You might have loyal listeners, friends, Romans, and countrymen might have noticed the last few episodes I have been in a hole of sad. And I still am largely, but that's fine because sometimes your brain stinks. And there's various reasons. Many of them are deeply unpleasant, but some of them are within. Most of them are also entirely without my control, and that's tough. But, and this is the good thing. Sometimes you can just go, "Fuck it! If I can't control that, what can I control?" So I've just been doing whatever I can, little treats for myself, little treats.
You've just
here and there.
inadvertently explained stoicism, by the way.
Yes, I have.
But in a very James O'Donoghue way of sometimes you can't control the bad shit, so fuck it. Very
But
good.
sometimes what you can control is your very strict fiscal rules. So, David, I have the last couple of days, even though I've had stuff like work, I've just been focusing on what I can do that is nice and positive and delights me. So, a couple of days ago, I finished work and then came home and made the dumb sounds you just listened to, which pushed me out of my
fantastic.
comfort zone. And
Really good.
then yesterday I finished work and I went to the theatre and I saw Boys from the Black Stuff. And let me tell you, that was some very black stuff. And yeah,
to clarify.
Boys from the Black Stuff is about men who were at one point laying roads, then got laid off because of Thatcher. And then it's about their times with the Department of Employment in the 80s while they were on the dole and trying to be, having the life squeezed out of them. Wasn't a cheery play, but it's very well done. Plus, halfway through the production, little mouse ran on stage. He wasn't meant to be there. Little tube mouse ran on stage, saw an actor saw it, then it ran off. And
Wow.
everyone else in the audience in the front row was going, "Is that a little mouse?" Also the tickets that I'd got upgraded right at the last minute. So I got basically like third row from the back, from the front.
Was it cold or hot in the theatre?
It was correctly heated. It's correctly cooled. It was at a balmy, I would say, 19 degrees.
Lovely. Okay.
That was good.
Like, I've been in theatres that are too hot, but it could have been air conditioned.
What
I know people on hot sunny days go to the cinema because it'll be aircon.
I think it was probably roasting on stage. Can imagine on stage because you're under the very thick
Stage
lights.
Fucking so hot, yeah.
They were also the kind of, it's set in Liverpool, probably around winter, so they're all wearing quite big coats and jackets and stuff. So
I hadn't even thought about that. That's
and particularly
mad.
it's by the old docks where it's very cold, so it's like, yeah, lots of stuff. It was very good. The only notes I would say is very bad wigs they were using. They were using some stage wigs that were just terrible. I don't know if you've noticed, wig usage has gotten worse over the last. Wig usage on TV and films.
Wig feel
and
has gotten better, weirdly. So,
But
how are these 90s references going for you today?
I
I feel like every time I do a 90s reference, you're like, what's that?
sometimes it's like talking to a dementia-stricken veteran going, Virulent, do you remember the Glenn Miller band? Like you're going, do you remember
Wigfield?
Wigfield? Do you remember
Wig the boys?
Do you remember 50-50?
Do you remember 50-50?
Yes.
What a show. Sally, Scottish Sally.
Sally Rooney.
I'm Googling it. I'm breaking the rule. 50-50 CBB.
Was that not Dave Benson Phillips?
No. It was Sally Gray. And then Angelica Bell.
Ah.
Oh, God. Angelica Bell in a German Christmas market in Leeds. Well, James, I'm glad you have managed to seize opportunities to not be as sad. And I'm glad that you went to the theatre. I'm glad that you got to make weird noises. Isn't making weird noises really fun?
It's very fun, particularly at the moment. I know that I have very little technical capabilities, and I have very. I don't profess to be very good at it, which takes a lot of the pressure off. And then sometimes accidentally I make something that I think, it was all right. Like the
I have a very clear piece of music that I made that took me from, I'm enjoying making beats and I'm just trying to make something that sounds better than the last thing I made, to something where I was like, that's actually good. And it took several years. I really enjoy hearing the things you make because they are sometimes absolutely fucking demented. And sometimes I'm like,
But sometimes
and I like the wavering.
It feels like I am showing a macaroni picture of a house with mummy and daddy, but I'm also showing it to Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso is very hungry and he's got a big old pot of water boiling. He's going, whoa, give me that macaroni. I'm like, it's Spanish. You're not big into pasta.
So
So I'm a man of the world. It's like, stop eating my art.
But just though every time that you do show me something, I'm elated, and I enjoy it. And also, like, the desire to be good and make it good, kind of, you want to get better, but there's a point where you're like, oh, I think I know how to make it good, and then you'll make something that isn't what you feel is good, and that's actually stifling. So if you're in that kind of sweet spot at the moment where you're just trying shit out, and that's fun, and it's a real, like, lovely thing that you can't really ever capture again. It's a bit like when you, like, work out how to have a good 10-minute set in comedy. I feel like people they usually have about 2 to 3 minutes, but they try and do a 5-minute set, and then they work their way up, and there'll be people who have got like a good 8 minutes, but there's 2 minutes of their 10-minute set that's shit, and then they have a good 10-minute spot, and then they write nothing else for like 2 years. But like,
that is
that
called me from 2017.
everyone, I did it. Yeah, everybody did it.
Yeah, I'm
everybody will do it.
I'm emceeing one of my favorite gigs tonight, and emceeing is the thing that I am least good at. I'm not bad at it, but I'm least good at it, and that's a good feeling of, oh, that's a little bit of shit in my pants.
Yeah,
sorry, I was halfway through a thought, and then I realised that I'd just done a little bit of shit in my pants.
Well, James, because of the shit in your pants, I'm giving you 2 points. No, that's not really true. I will give you 2,000 points, James.
Yes.
You got 2,000 points there. Put you on an amazing 2,036 points. It is over to you for round 4.
Round 4.
Round 4. Tell me how you are, David Hoare.
James, since we last spoke, I did a gig in Bradford-on-Avon.
Oh, home of William Shakespeare.
No!
Home of William Shakespeare.
Stratford-upon-Avon.
Bradford-on-Avon
is basically in between Bath and Bristol. You know how in between Bath and Bristol there's little villages and they're all next to each other, and some of them are really nice, and they're Bradford-on-Avon, and they're quite posh, and people wear horses. I went there once in the Sainsbury's, and half the people were they were wearing horse like. But I went into a Sainsbury's in Bradford-on-Avon, and half the people in there were wearing like horse riding trousers, having just come from the stables. It's really weird. You got those nice places, and next time you got places like Trowbridge, and it's very odd. And yeah, I did a gig with Jared Christmas and Eva Binderman, and we did it on a balcony, and it was good fun. But it was one of those gigs. You know how sometimes you want to get home and like. You just want to get into the gig and then get out again.
Yes.
You got to travel. I kind of thought I might be doing that because I didn't realize that Eva was on. I thought it was somebody else who I don't know very well. But I love Jared. And then it turned out Eva Binderman was on, friend of the show. And I was on at maybe 7:10, got off stage at 7:30. But I stuck around until 10:30 just hanging out with Jared and Eva. Because how often do you get to just hang out and chat shit with comedians? We finished the gig and then hang out. Yeah. It was so good.
He's a TV name. What TV has he been on?
He was on like Russell Howard's Good News and all sorts of stuff like that. But he was in the pot noodle adverts.
My God.
Yeah.
My God.
And of those of them, you can hear him discussing him on. James is holding up a rival to pot noodle because he hates Jared Christmas apparently.
Fuck you, Jared Christmas.
He's so nice. And then on Sunday, I got a message from my friend Chris Arnold, who does a thing I might have explained before called Beatles Dub Club, which is fantastic. And he managed to get me a ticket to go to a day of reggae in Bristol by the harbour.
With DJ Reggae Reardon?
No, unfortunately not. But I saw Holly Cook, whose dad is Steve Cook from the Sex Pistols. And I got to watch my friend Chris go, "Hey, Steve, I like your band." And he went, "Thanks." And then Chris was like, "We can leave now." Really funny. So then we saw Dread Zone, the Duelers and the Skints.
Very nice.
And I hadn't listened to reggae in a long time, hadn't seen reggae live in a long time. I could have stayed around and seen Gentleman's Dub Club. I really like the Skints as a band. Like, I've seen them live several times supporting other bands. And after that, I could have stuck around, and I was like, I've had my fill of. And I was like, if I listen to any more, then I might be like, I'm done with this one. Yeah, that's exactly what reggae sounds like. Yeah. But it was great. Got to hang out with Chris all day in the sun. It was apparently they sold like about a third of the tickets that they'd sold for the whole thing the day before because people went, "Oh, there's reggae on, and it's sunny tomorrow. Let's go to that." And it was just the loveliest vibes. And it was by Bristol Harbour, and inadvertently, weirdly, wandering around was one of the members of Goldie Looking Chain, who I sort of like raised my eyebrows at just to be like, "Hello," but just in a way, like walking past, like, "All right." But it turned out the guy I was with had done a podcast with him, so then I got to be involved in a conversation and chew his ear off. And I was like, "It's the guy from Goldie Looking Chain." Oh, what a guy! Well, that was lovely. So I had a lovely weekend. I've then since then cancelled Chops Comedy because it was illegal. No, because we hadn't sold many tickets, had the headliner drop out, and it was the England game, and it was sunny, and it meant that I just had takeaway in the park near me with my girlfriend and my friend in the sun, which was quite nice.
There we go.
I was supposed to do another gig last night and didn't do it because it was not many tickets sold, and I was like, just kind of want to hang out in the sun. So that was good. Yeah, and so just kind of like sometimes doing comedy gigs, sometimes cancelling comedy gigs, trying to prepare for the Fringe, getting distracted by ideas. I've noticed that when it gets around to me trying to do my taxes and me trying to finalise my Edinburgh show, I come up with some of the best ideas I've ever had. I really was like, let's do this podcast around the same time that I should have been doing my tax return. And right now, I should really be finalising my Fringe show. And I've come up with one of my favourite ideas I've ever come up with.
Hey.
So, I should definitely... Here's a really better idea. Let's do the thing that I'm already doing.
Well, David,
yeah.
At the end of that absolute tirade of filth and fury, I have no other choices but to give you 9,876 points. So, David, you are currently on 54,320 points. David, with all to play for, but very little consequence, it's over to you for audience favourite round 5.
Round 5.
James, of course, round 5 is obviously called Jigsaw Shakedown. James, I have recorded myself shaking some jigsaw boxes, and all I need you to tell me what picture is on the jigsaw.
Oh,
You're a fan of Jigsaw, aren't you?
Shit. David,
Yeah.
is this the movie Saw? Because I love Oh, okay.
You love jigging?
I love jigging and jiving.
You just went to Ireland. They jig there, right?
Let me tell you, yes, they do. That being said, I did go to a pub. There was a band on in the corner, and it was everyone's like, great, it was all good fun. The whiskey was flowing, and then one woman behind me went, "Sit the fuck down!" and just screamed at me. I was like,
Why?
I think I should leave. I don't know. I think she was having a bad day.
I think
A bad day.
Were you the only one dancing?
No.
That's
No,
weird.
but I was the only one.
She just tell you weren't Irish and she was a purist.
Probably. And as someone who has to deal with tourists quite a lot, don't blame her. Don't blame her. Nah.
Fair enough. Well, James, you do like jigsaws. You've done jigsaws, but can you tell me what image is on jigsaw number 1?
Okay. I'm going to say it's quite hefty, but it's spry. I'm going to say that's Darth Maul.
Do you think of this? It's Darth Maul. I should say this is for 1,000 points a question, as all these jigsaws are standard regulation 1,000 pieces.
Okay.
So, sorry, James. That was, in fact, 9 beagles.
9 beagles?
9 beagles.
Ah, David, I haven't even started 7 beagles yet.
Do you remember that famous show in Germany about stopping beagles from doing things?
Now that's comedy.
9 beagles. James, you do not get the points there. Question number 2. What would be on a jigsaw like this?
That felt like a train. I'm going to say it's a train.
I'm going to give you a clue
Train?
here. You weren't a million miles away with the guess for the previous one.
Okay. Darth to different Darth. I'm going to go Darth.
I would zoom
Tyrannus
out from character to
franchise. It's for Star Wars. The
zoom out
Clone
more.
Wars.
Zoom out more.
Zoom out more. The science fiction.
You zoomed out too far. You zoomed out in a weird direction.
Star Wars. Space. Wars.
Oh, in Star Wars.
George Lucas. Disney. It's
Correct, James. That is
Oh!
a Disney jigsaw
There we go.
with all your favorite Disney characters, including this fuck. For those of you that can't see, it's my nemesis,
Fucker.
Goofy. Oh, I just said this fuck, and that woke up my dog, and she's wagging her tail.
Well.
It's very odd.
Gold.
Wow, James, that's 1,000 points for you there. That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. James, final one in this round. Jigsaw number 3. What would appear on a jigsaw like this? Do you need to hear it again? Would it help?
Yes, please. It's a lot of up and down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of up and down. I'm going to say
Mm.
it's Bungee Jumpers United.
Imagine if the up and down wasn't so much physical as emotional.
The 2019 general election.
That wasn't up and down. That was just down.
Oh, that was pretty bad. The 2017 general election.
It's not a general election. Listen to it again. Hang on.
So
the
the housing value, the
there's no houses on it.
I'm gonna say it's the emotionally up and down. Wuthering Heights, the jigsaw puzzle.
No. I'm gonna give you one more. I'm gonna give you one more guess. Who is emotionally up and down?
Me?
What are the activities you like to do, James?
Going out into parks at night, finding the biggest fuck I can and just teaching him what for.
I mean, that person did do that as well, but more like maybe an activity you did over lockdown.
Painting. Is it a Vincent van Gogh jigsaw puzzle?
You're fucking right, it is.
What a starry sight.
Starry Night Jigsaw, but not all of it. It's sort of weirdly zoomed in.
Oh, yeah, no, that's cropped. They got the
It's cropped.
cypress trees, but not the church. That's messed
Yeah.
up, man.
Yeah. Also, it says missing pieces. Please contact us.
Please!
That is also correct there, James. You did absolutely fantastic, all on your own back. That is 4,036 points for you overall so far today. James, it's over to you for round 6.
Round 6.
No, David. No. You know how this works. I'm Darren Aronofsky. And we've got a very exciting guest to
I just
host.
clicked like a Swifty because I like that so much. I've never done that before. What usually happens is I do something offhanded or as like a joke, and then it turns into something I actually do. So in about 6 months, you'll say something, and I'll be like, "Yes, Queen."
I had a
'Cause I hate Queen.
a bunch of people in an audience once clicking. I was like, "Fuck off!"
I
I got
remember you texted me
really
about
angry.
that.
Got really angry with them. So,
Mm.
David, I am.
It's just not my culture. I'm not going to try and impede on it. If it's their culture, that's fine, but I'm not going to do it. Also, laugh at jokes. Don't click at them.
Yeah, laugh. Fucking
You're not
laugh.
a dolphin.
You have a role to play in this night.
Mm.
Anyway, David, here is your host for this next round, and I do hope you enjoy. Hello, David. It's me, Morrissey, from the alternative universe where I didn't become a racist, but instead became a marine biologist. After the Smiths broke up, I decided to take a break from my career and go back to university. The idea was to return to music, but instead I fell in love with the wide open sea. So I go out to make sure the population of porpoises are okay. I get recognized and people stare. I discovered the love for the deep sea creatures, and after discovering how fragile life on Earth is, I've collaborated with George Monbiot, who is right with the fact that we need narratives for progressive causes, and I think that it's time the tale were told. I know it seems futile, and I ask myself sometimes, what difference does it make? And then I go into a panic, but I don't want to have started something I couldn't finish. I'll stop now because, simply put, that joke isn't funny anymore. David, here are some questions from the briny deep. Tell me if you have the answers, but be quick because I'm in a universe that is infested with vampires. It's called world building. Deal with it. David.
Yep.
How many fish are in the River Thames?
Oh, like 10,000.
I mean, different species of fish.
Oh, that you did not say that in your question.
I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I'm still a contrarian, even if I like whales.
50?
50. David, I'm sorry, it's 125.
Oh, wow.
125 there. So, David, I can't give you 1983 points. Of course, the year that the first Smiths LP came out. David, what's the largest marine mammal? And I'm not just talking about your mother.
Thank you, Morrissey.
No, that's
blue
cruel.
whale?
I'm sorry. A blue whale, of course, David. It's a blue whale. Anyone could get that, but I'm glad you did. David, what's the most common fish?
Oh, I was about to say cod because it's the most common one you'd get in fish shops, but I don't think that's the reason it's the most common. Is it Michael fish?
David, I enjoy the humour, so I'm going to actually give you the points for that one. Michael Fish. The sun shines out of his behind. In my universe, he didn't get the weather wrong ever. And he got an OBE, which stands for, oh boy, extraordinary.
What is the most common fish?
It's actually the bristlemouth, the common bristlemouth, which is what I call your mother. No, I am joking. Your mother is a real trooper. I love her. David, what kills more people, sharks or toasters?
Oh, toasters.
Toasters, absolutely, David. In 2014, toasters killed 700 people, whereas sharks only killed 68.
Wow.
How many vampires live in the sea, David?
Can I get like a geographical, like how far a vampire spread in your?
It's sort of kind of a bit like, analogous to, I suppose you'd say, grey squirrels.
Oh, okay. But in the sea, how
In
many
the
vampires in
yeah,
the sea?
they're on the land mainly. There's a few in
Oh,
the
wow.
sea.
Are they like the car in the Spy Who Loved Me that can go on both land and in the water?
Well, they don't. Some of them don't need to breathe. Only a
Oh.
few, though.
Oh, well, let's go with 60.
60. David, you're a bit off the mark there. It's 3 that we know of: Kaiser Wilhelm II, John Wayne Gacy, and Papa John. And finally, David,
I suppose that if even if there's 3 vampires, they can still cause a lot of damage. I'm sort of imagining that like an infestation of vampires is going to be a lot more kind of like numerous, but a
yeah,
small amount of very violent
was-
creatures can cause a lot of damage.
it was interesting. I was actually watching a theatre production the other day of Boys from the Black Stuff, and a vampire crawled on stage. And finally, David, how long can you hold your breath underwater?
Me personally, or like the
You personally.
oh, I'd probably do it for like 10 seconds before being like, "Why am I doing this?"
10 seconds. That's very impressive, David. I'm very impressed. Well, David, I think you did very well. And there's always room aboard my submarine. So if you ever want to take me up on that offer, ask me. I won't say no. How could I? Goodbye. And I hope you've enjoyed this stint in the multiverse saga. Morrissey there. Stephen Patrick Morrissey.
I went from being like, "Oh my god, the 2 guests you've booked are Farage and Morrissey," and then I realized that it was alternate universe Morrissey. Really warm to him, and then the last sentence you said there made me go, "Oh."
Well, David, it's time for the results. The biggest result of all is yet to come.
Oh,
David, at the end of the show, the scores are as follows, and I can't believe this. David, you have won with a whopping score of 62,252 points. Clearly, this was rigged. Clearly, it's an unfair system that has, of course, benefited the establishment.
weirdly, Nigel, that's the best I've got.
I mean, it was inevitable. I've been saying this for years. Did anyone listen to me? Yes, I've been given unparalleled access to media outlets for years and able to dance rings around most of our fawning media in this country by being controversial in a way that won't lead to journalists interviewing me paying more taxes. I'm off. But before I go, I wanted to say this. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem built here among those dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, oh clouds unfold. Bring me my chariots of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. Actually, that sounds a little bit lefty for me, so I'm off for a pint of Green King IPA, the closest thing you can get to actually drinking what I like, piss. See you in Bergheim, boys! Just
I spent all of that song Googling whether Jerusalem is fair use. And let me tell you, if you just Google the phrase Jerusalem fair use, it is not the information that you want. Also,
it's
did
fair
you ever
use
see
as
the
long as we have a representative from the United Nations here.
Jesus Christ. So, did you ever see the photo of Nigel Farage on the first day we were allowed back in pubs after lockdown?
Ugh.
It was really funny because he went in at he managed to find one he could get in at like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And he posted a picture of him holding up a beer. And all the comments were just like, imagine waiting all that time to go to the pub. And then the first thing you order is a bottle of beer.
Oh, yeah, no, that was insane.
It's
That
like,
was really
you're
insane.
a fucking idiot.
But it was like Green King IPA, which you can get on tap at all fucking Green King pubs. It's also the pissiest beer. I fucking hate Green King IPA, and I fucking hate Nigel Farage. David, this has been Is This Enough? You can find us on our socials at Is This Enough Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, do please email us at isthisenoughpodcasting@gmail.com. Tell us if there are any guests you would like to hear from in the future. We really love your emails. We really love your email, the one we've received so far, and we'll read out the ones that make us laugh. That is, any of them. We're laughing at you for fucking emailing us, you nerd. Get some friends. I've been James O'Donoghue. You can find me at Is That James O on Insta and Let the James Begin on TikTok. David, where can people get their filthy, disease-ridden hands on you and your content?
James, if people would like to come to my Edinburgh show at the Edinburgh Fringe, it's at 2:15 at Hill Street Theatre. The show is called 1000% Musical Comedy. You can get tickets via the Fringe website. It's at Hill Street Theatre from the 2nd to the 25th of August, but not the 13th, because that day I'll be doing a big sleep. But you can find me at David Hoare LOL on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Thank you very much for listening today, everybody.
No. Thank you. And no. Let me speak.